Hello world, welcome back to my channel in 2019. Happy New Year. My life is like crazy hectic right now. Everything's up in the air, but we're gonna keep this stuff going. And I've got a new essay, 6,500 words, huge, which is the culmination of like everything I've been talking about and thinking about for the past year and a half. It's massive. How to look at computers as a medium, what cyberspace is, what it really is. And that is available right now. If you support me by subscribing to me on subscribestar.com/ClintonTheGeek, shoot me a couple bucks a month, or patreon.com/ClintonTheGeek.com. Your support is very much appreciated. So, I've also got a new McLuhan series coming out, like lectures, well, my ideal lessons on how to teach McLuhan properly. And so, episode 1 is in the works. See that soon. Since Friday, social media has been like burning to the ground, and it's all over this photograph, this video actually. Here's a shot from this video of this kid wearing a mega hat. He's on a high school field trip, staring down a Native American man banging on a drum. And this story was spread all over the internet. This kid just staring at this guy, and this guy is just banging his drum, and all these kids are standing around like laughing. And it's like, oh my gosh, these horrible racist children are mocking this poor innocent man. And then it turns out that's not what happened. Turns out they were getting like attacked by this group of racists who were shouting horrible things at them. Like they weren't like they were just like standing there like hearing this crap, and so they started arguing back and Nathan Phillips, this Native American man, decided to cool things off by walking into the middle of the group of high school kids with his drum, banging it around. And he like walked up to this kid and was banging his drum in his face, and this kid just kind of like standing there. And then that was it. Nothing happened. As in, nothing happened. But of course, when nothing happens and it looks this iconic, of course something happened. Initial reports implied the teens had swarmed to harass him. The narrative was repeated over and over on the sites of legacy newspapers, major broadcasters, new media outlets, and social media. The optics of seemingly privileged white boys facing off with an indigenous elder made it easy to classify it as straightforward racism and bigotry that some have come to expect from those wearing mega hats. Make America great again. So, this is the CBC. In this opinion column, it's all apologetic, you know. We were wrong to jump the gun. I was wrong. We goofed badly. Lots of media outlets did that because these kids were getting their freaking lives destroyed by massive hordes of people who were hating on them and calling them punchable and demanding they get the shit beat out of them, and celebrities offering like signed merchandise to anyone who beat the shit out of them, and all this stuff, right? Until the story got corrected a day or two later. Washington Post. Mainstream media rushed to keep up. That's the problem. News goes too fast. So let's look at it in like a media history context, because everything needs to be contextualized in the history of the technology. That's what we're doing on this channel. 100 years ago, you got the newspaper, told you the news yesterday. 60 years ago, you get television, the nightly news on TV that night, right? Like, here's what happened today. CNN happens in the 80s. Now you start getting 24-hour news channels, right? So for like 30 years, we've had 24-hour news channels. More and more and more, and the internet comes in with that, and now everyone does instant news all the time. 10 years ago, we get social media, and it's connects all these individual people who bring their identities online. And they can all just talk directly and spread stories virally. A viral story spreads. Mainstream media can't keep up. And then they get called fake news by the Trump internet. Okay, fair account. They got called... The reporters were shamed by a whole lot more people than just Trump supporters. I mean, generally, when bad stories get a whole bunch of random high school kids attacked by like millions of people and have their lives destroyed, well, also, then in turn, the internet flame war grows, and then all the reporters get death threats, and they all have all their stuff torn apart, and then they get all their lives destroyed. And everyone has fun hating on the other person, and that's where we're at right now in history insofar as these dynamics. But let's... The only reason I wouldn't make this video for this if it weren't for this particular story, this picture. This picture is so iconic that it's more true, this picture, what it means to you than whatever really happened. That, according to this Not-Gawker website, Deadspin.com. You see all these Not-Gawker websites? Gawker went bankrupt in 2016. So this is Not-Gawker, and according to Not-Gawker, what was happening was clear and unmistakable, not just resonant, but immediately recognizable as iconic. If you wanted to compress the history of relations between the powerful and the powerless in America, or the dynamics of the current moment into a single image, you couldn't do much better than to present a white teen in a mega hat surrounded by a screaming horde of his peers smirking into the face of an old Native American man. Look at that. It's perfect. It captures so many truths at large about culture at large. This picture, it's artwork. It's like the perfect propaganda artist couldn't devise a painting that was as good as this photograph. And that's so that the truths that you read into it, that is the truth. Hold on to that truth because it's so undeniable that it was immediately denied. Right-wing trolls not only proposed that the visibly aggressive teens were in fact the ones aggressed upon, but began a brutal campaign of harassment against journalists, especially female journalists, who accurately described what they had seen. Not accurately described what they had seen, which was the perfect imagery of everything wrong with racism in America today. That's what they'd seen, and that's what they had described, right? And reacted to it on the terms it deserved, which is disgust at this victimization of this poor Native American man by these evil white teens wearing mega hats. You see, it was an enactment of the culture war tactics pioneered by Gamergate and used by Donald Trump to ascend to the pinnacle of global power. Right? They doxed and threatened people to try to silence them and intimidate them, while respectable types urged caution, proposing that if you were thoughtful enough, you would perhaps realize that you hadn't in fact seen what you had just seen. Or if you had, maybe it wasn't all that bad at all. So yeah. Anyway, it goes on to point out that on account of what actually happened, which shows that the kids were just kind of standing around when all this weird stuff started happening, they just kind of looked around half smirking, like, what the heck's going on? That's what happened, right? Then all these newspapers cowardlessly pulled back, right, with their fuller pictures and their different sides, and they're claiming to have failed the test. Racist headline about failing Catholic tests and viral stories and waiting for facts. Forget waiting for facts to emerge. When you know what you see the second you see it, that's what's real. That's what's true. Like, anyway, that's what Not-Gawker wants you to think, and that's freaking insane because what they're basically saying is, no, not basically, what they're spelling out in elaborate detail in this amazing article, which is worth fully reading. These people are willing to give the screaming mob of white teens the benefit of the doubt because it distinguishes them from the emotion-driven hordes. It's like virtue signaling, but they're attempting to show that they're willing to be chastened and so are thoughtful. Damn them for admitting that they're wrong and acting trustworthy, right? Gawker is basically trying to appeal to everyone who sought more context and changed their mind that no, you were right in the first time when you had no more context. The iconic image matters more. See, this is important to me because the whole idea of the internet is that it's so full of information. So full of information that it's a different medium than television. And you can get context on things and you can get the fuller picture. And the people in the story will tell their stories, all of them, and you will get the fuller, bigger picture. So after the story broke on Friday, since then, these kids have appeared on news stories and have been interviewed and all sorts of stuff. And Yet what Not-Gawker here wants us to do is to hold on to the initial impression with no context whatsoever, based on the iconic symbolic imagery, and damn everyone who changed their mind when more facts emerged and took away from their raw emotive power, who wanted to distinguish themselves from the emotional-driven mob. Well, Gawker says, good on the emotional-driven mob. They're the ones who have the real truth, the real story. Right? Like, who the hell writes a story like this? Gawker. Oh, sorry, not Gawker. It's not Gawker. It's not Gawker anymore. Gawker's gone, right? Yeah, so not Gawker. Listen, this is exactly why this is media types battling each other. This is the television iconic form being spelled out to, fighting the internet form, which brings context and life to everything. Social media actually has real flesh and blood people living that you can poke and prod and you can destroy their lives overnight. But no, they're just actors and ploys for iconic images that get them in the wrong context, which provides the right picture. Anyways, that's why stuff's going to hell. More videos coming up soon. Please subscribe or support me on subscribestar.com or patreon.com. Until next time, take care.